If you have been paying amortization on a tower that is currently at floor 7 and was supposed to be at floor 14, there is a very good chance you have sent 4 emails to an inbox that will never fix your problem.
This episode from Property.ph follows 2 buyers, Maria, an OFW nurse in Dubai, and Jerome, Metro Manila-based, through the formal complaint process. What HSAC actually is, what the law gives buyers, and what filing looks like from the outside of the Philippines.
Let's start with Maria at 6:04 in the morning, a cold cup of coffee, and a drafts folder that has been doing a lot of work.
Maria has been paying amortization for 19 months on a unit in a tower currently sitting at floor 7. She has been doing what most buyers do, emailing. 4 drafts, different tones, different levels of diplomatic softening, each one a small record of how this process wears a person down.
The one she actually sent got this reply. Your concern is important to us and has been escalated to the relevant team.
That sentence means a system received her email and generated a response. It does not mean a human read it, and it does not mean anything is going to happen. The customer service inbox has no real consequence in a pre-selling dispute. The consequence lives somewhere else entirely.
Specifically at the Human Settlements Adjudication Commission, HSAC, a quasi-judicial body created by Republic Act 11201 in 2019, separate from DHSUD itself. HSAC can order refunds, award damages, rescind contracts, and recommend that a developer's license to sell be suspended. Those are real enforcement powers.
What surprises most buyers is the timeline. HSAC operates with a caseload that outpaces staffing at most regional offices. Cases queue chronologically, with no mechanism to prioritize based on financial hardship or how clear-cut the violation is.
Jerome, 3 weeks ahead of Maria in the process, already knew this because he spent a Tuesday evening reading the HSAC procedural rules before anything went wrong. That knowledge gap between them is not about intelligence. It is about one person knowing a formal process existed before the problem was 19 months old.
Jerome also had a demand letter, a formal written notice naming the buyer, the developer, the project, the contractual basis for the claim, the specific remedy demanded, and a deadline, sent by registered mail with the registry card proving receipt. That card is now evidence. Maria has emails.
The emails are evidence of contact attempted and not seriously answered. They are not a demand letter. They do not establish a legal demand, a specific deadline, or a verifiable chain of receipt. Her HSAC complaint will be thinner than Jerome's, not because her case is weaker, but because her record is.
3 legal frameworks apply to her situation. Presidential Decree 957 gives buyers grounds to rescind and demand a full refund when a developer fails to deliver within the committed timeline. And critically, the forfeiture clause she signed cannot override that right when the rescission is triggered by developer delay rather than buyer choice.
The Meseta law gives buyers who have paid at least 2 years of amortization a 50% refund floor on cancellation. Maria is at 19 months, just below the threshold. But HSAC cases take 12 to 24 months to resolve. If she filed now and the case takes 14 months, she crosses the 2-year mark before the arbiter rules.
Which gives her a second legal basis sitting in reserve, even if the PD 957 argument gets contested. A buyer who understands this can track that date and factor it into how aggressively they push at each stage.
Filing from Dubai adds a layer. Maria cannot appear in person. Her mother files on her behalf, but needs a special power of attorney notarized before a Philippine consular officer in Dubai and then apostilled. From the day Maria decides to file to the day her mother has a usable SPA, 19 days.
At the counter, the clerk flagged 2 official receipts, where the developer's stamp was partially cut off at the edge, photographed with a phone in low light during the months Maria had stopped going into the sales office. Her mother re-photographed them right there, printed them on the office copier, and the filing was completed. Fee paid in cash, case number assigned.
Her mother photographed the stamped complaint and sent it to Maria via WhatsApp. It arrived at 6:34 in the evening Dubai time, just before her next night shift. Maria later described what she felt as not exactly relief, but the sense that something had started that did not exist yesterday.
Something has started and something is moving are not the same sentence. After filing, HSAC serves a summons on the developer, who has 15 days to file an answer. Developers routinely request an extension. HSAC grants it. Jerome's developer filed an extension request on day 12, submitted the answer on day 22, cited supply chain disruptions and force majeure. Jerome filed a reply. The case moved to mediation scheduling.
Mediation is mandated under the Alternative Dispute Resolution Act. Neither party can skip it. A mediator facilitates. They do not decide. What the developer offers depends on how strong they think the buyer's documentation is and how many other active HSAC cases they are managing. A buyer with clean records and a demand letter on file gets a more serious offer than one whose records have gaps.
Before his mediation conference was ever scheduled, Jerome filed an eFOI request through foi.gov.ph, the Electronic Freedom of Information portal under Executive Order No. 2, which covers executive departments, including DHSUD and HSAC. He asked for the developer's current license to sell status, their DHSUD compliance history, and whether HSAC cases had been filed against the same developer at the same regional office. 11 working days later, 3 pages. License to sell active, no compliance flags, quarterly reports current, and 2 active HSAC proceedings against the same developer at the same regional office, both in the pre-mediation phase. One filed 9 months ago, one 4 months ago. Neither resolved. Jerome noted this in his position paper draft with a specific instruction to himself. Cite the eFOI response confirming 2 prior proceedings. Do not speculate about the facts of those cases. Let the pattern speak for itself. When Maria eventually files her own eFOI request, she will find 3 proceedings, including Jerome's.
If mediation fails, and in contested cases it often does, both sides submit written position papers to an arbiter. Jerome already has his organized. Factual background with exhibit labels assigned, applicable law, citing PD 957 Section 23 and the Masada Law Section 3, documentary evidence, including the demand letter and registry card, and requested relief. Rescission, full refund of 842,000 pesos in amortization payments, legal interest from the date of filing, attorney's fees.
He is writing it now, on a Saturday, with coffee that is still hot, because the version of himself who has 15 days notice and a full plate at work is not going to do better work.
If the arbiter rules in Maria's favor, the decision orders the developer to pay, with legal interest, possible moral damages, possible attorney's fees, and a recommendation to DHSUD to review the license to sell. What it does not do is hand her money. It orders the developer to pay. Those are different things.
Enforcement requires a separate filing for a writ of execution, which the HSAC sheriff serves on the developer's bank. The mechanism works. Buyers have collected through writs of execution, but it does not happen automatically when the decision is issued. A buyer who wins and waits for the developer to write a check is going to be waiting for a very long time.
Jerome is watching the mailbox for the mediation notice. Maria's mother is watching it for her every 2 weeks. The clerk at the counter, when asked how many cases were ahead of theirs, said it depended on the docket. He said he couldn't say. He was not being evasive. What comes after the notice is the mediation conference. What comes after that depends on whether the developer walks through the door and what a buyer needs to have ready before they sit down at that table. Maria has a case number. Jerome has a position paper outline and a registry card under a metal clip. The law gives both of them real tools. The timeline is its own separate subject.
Next episode,
what mediation actually looks like from inside the room, and what preparation looks like when you do not know whether the other side is going to show up.